Nitai ki. Sri Krishna Balaram ki. Sri Radha Govinda Madhava ki. Did I get it right? Gaur Premanandi. Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
So we're reading today from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 2. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And today it's text number 98.
Amsa Shakya Vesha Rupe Dvi Vidhavatara. Amsha Shakya Vesha Rupe Dvi Vidhavatara. Apoganda Dharma Duita Prakara. Balya Poganda Dharma Duita Prakara. Amsha Shakya Vesha Rupe Dvi Vidhavatara. Amsha Shakya Vesha Rupe Dvi Vidhavatara. Balya Poganda Dharma Duita Prakara. Balya Poganda Dharma Duita Prakara. Gentlemen.
Amsha Shakya Vesha Rupe Vividavatara.
Amsha Shakya Vesha Rupe Vividavatara.
Balya Poganda Dharma Duita Prakara.
Balya Poganda Dharma Duita Prakara.
Amsa Satyata Vesa Rupe Vividavatara.
Amsha Shakya Vesha Rupe Vividavatara.
Balya Poganda Dhamma Dvaita Prakara.
Balya Poganda Dharma Duita Prakara.
Amsha Shakya Vesha Rupe Vividavatara.
Amsha Shakya Vesha Rupe Vividavatara.
Gana Sarva Duita Prakara.
Balya Poganda Dharma Duita Prakara.
Mataji's.
Amsha Shakya Vesha Rupe Vividavatara.
Amsha Shakya Vesha Rupe Vividavatara.
Balya Poganda Dharma Duita Prakara.
Balya Poganda Dharma Duita Prakara.
Amsha Shakya Vesha Rupe Vividavatara.
Amsha Shakya Vesha Rupe Vividavatara.
Poganda Dharma Duita Prakara.
Balya Poganda Dharma Duita Prakara.
Amsha Shakya Vesha Rupe Vividavatara.
Amsha Shakya Vesha Rupe Vividavatara.
Balya Poganda Dharma Duita Prakara.
Amsha of the plenary expansion. Shakti Avesha of the empowered. Rupe in the form. Dvividha two kinds. Avatar incarnation. Balya childhood. Poganda boyhood. Dharma characteristics of age. Dui two. Ta certainly. Kar kind. and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
His incarnations are of two kinds, namely partial and empowered. He appears in two ages, childhood and boyhood. Purport. The last forms are 6 in number. Incarnations are of two varieties, namely Shakti-Avish, empowered, and Ang-Shavish, partial. These incarnations also come within the category of Prabhav and Vaibhav manifestations. Childhood and boyhood are two special features of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, but his permanent feature is his eternal form as an adolescent youth. The original personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is always worshipped in this eternal adolescent form. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namaha Shri-Chaitanya-Navadhanam Samhitam-Yena Bhutale Swayam-Rupa-Kanamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeyam Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri-Shri- Advaitam Samrutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Tamisham He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Govishya Govika Kanta Kanta Namaste Tamja Krishna Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishamanu Sudevi Pranami Devi Manchana Yasya Kripasandu Vyevacha Patitana Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Shri Vasi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody to the Chaitanya Charitamrita class today. I am your humble servant Doyal and this is Radha Raman Prabhu. And it was not undecided who would give class this morning, so we decided we'll give class together. So Radha Raman's asked me to go first, so I'll send you all to sleep. Radha Raman will wake you up at the end with some exciting rasa related topics, and then we'll take prasadam, breakfast. So we're looking forward to the rest of the retreat. Of course, this topic itself here is very technical, and could be in one sense because it'd be quite boring for some, but it's actually very interesting. So these different types of incarnations is written substantially by Rupa Goswami in his book Lagu Bhagavatamrita. So many of you perhaps have heard of, or at least started to read Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which is a very important book by Sanatana Goswami. It's considered his magnus opus, which gives us very detailed Puranic descriptions of all the different levels of devotional service, the different personalities involved, their moods, their forms, and their potencies. And as different personalities such as Gopakama move up through the different realms, different worlds, interacting with these different personalities. So Rupa Goswami, who is the Rasacharya, however, he wrote a very technical treatise on the same topic called Lagu Bhagavatamrita, which means small Bhagavatamrita. And his explanation for that is that the Brihad Bhagavatamrita is so big, it's such a large body of work, it would be difficult for most individuals to read through and to study effectively. So he gave a summary study, a condensed version called the Lagu Bhagavatamrita, which brings out the essence of the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. But it's very technical, and so that relates well to this verse, because this is quite a technical verse, particularly the first chapter of Lagu Bhagavatamrita. Rupa Goswami goes to great lengths to establish, first of all, the supremacy of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, complete in 64 qualities, that he is the source of all emanations, the cause of all causes, using 3 main verses, the first one ending with Ete Changsa Kalapungsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Ritanti Yuge. So this verse that all emanations are coming from Krishna, he is the source of all incarnations. Brahmati Paramatmati Bhagavaniti Shabdite. That's the first verse, the end of the first verse, which establishes that the absolute truth can be understood in these 3 divisions, Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavan. And then he goes further and quotes that verse from the Brahma Samhita. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Anani Ani Govinda Saradharana Karma. He is the cause of all causes. So that incarnation or that personality of Godhead, that form of the Lord, Swayam Rup, which isn't dependent on any other form, the cause of all causes. All incarnations, all avatars, various different types, and there are so many, Lila avatars, Manvata avatars, Purusha avatars, Guna avatars, Shakti Vaishya avatars, and so on. They are all dependent upon the original personality of Goddess. So that form from which all other forms have emanated, that form upon which he doesn't rely on any other potency, that is the original personality of Godhead. And so that's declared in the scriptures to be Krishna, who reveals more potency, more expressions and more varieties of relationship with his devotees, and more nectarian pastimes in different forms and features. Therefore, it's understood by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas that form is the best, the highest, to be worshipped, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in Raja Krishna, Krishna in Vrindavan. So that being established, then he goes on to explain the different types of avatars. And this can get quite technical. I remember I was in a class with Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj once, and he spent the whole class trying to help the audience understand the difference between Swayam Rup and Swayam Prakash. And even by the end of the class, not everybody could get it. So I think everybody knows Swayam Rupa. This is Sarvakara Karanam, so the cause of all causes, the original form. So that's Krishna in Vrindavan, Swayam Rupa. And then Swayam Prakash is a slight, it is Swayam Rupa Krishna, it is Krishna in completeness, but it's just showing, revealing a slightly different form, marginally, hardly any difference at all, and a different mode. So Swayam Rupa and Swayam Prakash, these are the first 2 divisions. So this is when Krishna expands as Balaram. So Balaram is Krishna, it's the same, but he's a slightly different mode and a slightly different appearance. He's exactly the same, with a different complexion. He holds different weapons, also, a different dress, but he is Krishna, but he's slightly different. So Prime Swayam Prakash. So you have these Prakash expansions. You have the Vaibhav Prakash and the Prabhav Prakash. The Vaibhav Prakash are those expansions which are exactly the same as Krishna in every way, but they're dependent upon the Swayam Rupa Krishna, and then you have the Swayam Prakash forms, which are slightly different. When Krishna expands himself to dance with the gopis, for example, every single form is exactly the same as him in every way. They're the same as the Swayam Rupa, but they are not. They simultaneously are and they are not. So that's the Vaibhav Prakash. So when Krishna walks out of his house in Dwarka, although technically that doesn't work because the Dwarka incarnation, Vasudeva Krishna, isn't Swayam Rupa. So let's keep it to Vrindavan. So when he's dancing with the gopis, those forms are exactly the same as him. That's Vaibhav Prakash. And then Prabhav Prakash, then that's Balaram. Then from Balaram is coming all the other incarnations. So you have the Vilas incarnations, and then you have the Swamsa incarnations. So there's a very nice picture of them. I've got them here. It can be very confusing because there's overlaps. These categories are not, you can't put them in boxes. You can for the sake of understanding the basic principles, but there's a lot of overlap. As in there's two types of Vilas incarnations. Vilas technically means pastime, right? So you have this very famous autobiography, Radha Damodar Vilas. Anyone read that book?
Yes.
Who's read Radha Damodar Vilas here? Oh yeah. And after reading that book, I took a vow to go on Harinam every day, which I maintained for many years. Because I can't now. But at one time I could. I was free. So Vilas, pastime incarnations. But Vilas, technically, if you take it to the technical definition, it means the Vaikuntha forms. So when the Lord wants to display his opulences in the Vaikuntha realms with the different features, so you have the different 24 Vaikuntha forms, which are expansions of the Chaturjuha. Those are the Vilas features. But Vilas can also mean any kind of pastime feature. How is everyone doing for weariness? I was so tired this morning. I had to take a little nap. I think maybe it's... Well, when we changed the hour to go from UK to France, did we lose time or gain time?
Lose.
It felt like we lost time. Too tired to figure it out. So, like I said, I'll be the one to send you to sleep during the class, and then rather than wake you up again. So then you have the Swamsa incarnations, and so these different Lila avatars. So anyway, just in summary, because it's really boring, the main principle is that as the amount of potencies displayed go down, the amount of qualities that are displayed by an incarnation go down are less. Then it moves from the category from Vilas to Swamsa to Avatar. The Shakti-Vesh avatar, for example, can be even a jiva, tattva, but is empowered by the Lord. And can even exhibit the same potencies as the Lord. Rishabdev is considered Prabhu, Shakti-Vesh avatar, because he's as powerful as the Lord. Of course, he only displays a certain amount as is required for those pastimes. So generally, all incarnations just display how much they need to display to fulfill their particular duty, their role in that pastime. But you should understand they're all Krishna, ultimately. We know that Krishna contains all of the other avatars. He sometimes displays them in Krishna Lila, Chaitanya Lila also. He displays those avatars on occasion just to show that he is all of them. So therefore he can be referred to as Kiradakashaya Vishnu, though he doesn't like that particularly. He can be referred to as any of the avatars. But he is all of them. He's the sum total and is the cause of them all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, without further ado, I'll hand it over to Radha Raman Prabhu to say something which is actually tasteful. Because this is all nectar, but because it requires some focus, and it's early in the morning, and we're all tired, it may be difficult. What to do? Hare Krishna.
I was just thinking whilst there's a pause whether someone would like to ask a question. Yeah. Please.
Oh yeah.
Okay. What's the second most less powerful incarnation with the second most? Because there's three that coming from Vilas to Shakti-Vesh. Is the second category?
So you have Swayam Rupa, and you have Swayam Prakash. Then it comes down to what we call Tad Ekatma Rupa, which are all these incarnations which are showing a particular quality, emphasizing a particular feature. And within that category you have the Vilas and the Swamsa expansions. So Swamsa is basically just an expansion from the Vilas forms, which displays slightly less opulences or potencies. Yeah, so Pradyumna and Niruddha, they're actually from the Chaturvyuha, so they're Vilas incarnations. So there are overlaps also. It's not always in boxes.
What's the difference between Samsa and Vibhinamsa?
Vibhinamsa is the living entity, and Swamsa is Vishnu Tattva. So you have this verse, Vishnu Shakti Para Prapta Kshetra Gyakya Tata Para Avijja Karma Samyamye Tritiya Shakti Ishiti. So these different potencies of Vishnu, Vishnu Shakti, the internal potency, the external potency, and then the Jiva living entity. So you have the Swarup Shakti, that's the energetical, devotional personification of Krishna's love and affection, Srimati Radharani, Swarup Shakti. But then you have the external potency. And then you have the living entity, the Jiva, which is in between. The marginal potency is coming from the Chit potency, but is a combination of Samvid and Sandini. And Jiva has the opportunity to decide to be in the atmosphere of the internal potency, Antaranga Shakti, or the external potency, Bahiranga. Like the beach is sometimes covered by water, or is sometimes land. It can be either situations. So we, depending on how we conduct ourselves in this life, we move up or down, closer or further away from that eternal spiritual atmosphere. Jiva potency, Vibhinamsa. Yeah.
Because Krishna is Svayamrupa, the original personality of God, the Jiva, in his relationship with the Lord, his original nature is necessary with Krishna in the relationship, or can be also with his expansions, or when the relationship is direct with his expansion, has to do another path to then go to establish the relationship with Krishna.
Yeah, so the Acharyas explain your Swarup Siddhi, you have a natural inclination towards a particular, your Siddha Deha is a natural inclination to a particular mood of the Lord. Right, so you have your, what do you call it? Anyway, your worshipable deity. So you may be particularly attracted to Lord Nrsimhadev, or to Lord Ram, or to any of the features of the Lord. So then you'll be attracted to those pastimes and to those devotees who are also in a similar mood. And so you're naturally attracted because Yam Yam Bhapi Smaram Bhavam Jijityante Kaleva, you're naturally attracted. What your consciousness is at the time of death, and there you will go. So that doesn't just work for moving around into different bodies in the material world, but also where you'll be attracted to beyond the material perception of life also. So we see Gopakumar moves up through the different realms, and that may happen to an individual who has got love for Braja Krishna. He may go all the way through, but not all devotees are inclined. So we see like the Ramanujacharya, for example, and his followers, they're more inclined to Vaikuntha style of worship, so for them that's the highest, and that's perfect. So they go to the Vaikuntha realms in one of the 24 forms of the last features of Narayana, and worship him in their own way. So it depends upon your natural inclination.
One more question back there. So,
I was wondering, what does the scripture say about the Lord's purpose for expanding himself exactly? What does it say? And also, is there a difference between his interactions or his relationship that he desires, with his expansion and his bliss potency and all the marginal potency? Is there a difference in the way he relates with all of these?
So the first question was,
Sorry.
he expands himself to increase his pleasure. That's what the Acharya says. Intensify his pleasure, because variety is the mother of enjoyment. So he's already completely satisfied and perfect in every way. He doesn't require anything. But to further increase his happiness, he expands himself. Then how do the other expansions interact with their energies? Well, that's that verse from the Bhagavad Gita, as you surrender unto me, I will reward you accordingly. So Krishna simply responds according to our particular mood and how we approach him. Then he's got an unlimited amount of incarnations to respond to you in exactly the way that you've approached him. Because he's unlimited. And we're limited. So he's always going to have a way to reciprocate perfectly with you. Which is something you just can't find here in this world, which is why everyone's frustrated in their relationships, because nobody can understand you and they can't reciprocate how you want them to. So we're frustrated because intuitionally we know that it should be possible, but it doesn't seem to happen to me. So then, but with Krishna it does work, because he can reciprocate exactly, perfectly, and he does. So our Srimad Bhagavatam is full of instances where he responds and reciprocates perfectly with the devotees around him. Every single devotee is completely satisfied and empowered, because Srila Prabhupada's godbrother Sridhar Swami said that Prabhupada was Shakti Vaishnavas, and he was an empowered jiva with Gaura Shakti. So he was empowered, and so we see that an empowered jiva can also interact perfectly with each individual and reciprocate exactly how that individual needs. So we saw Prabhupada do that over and over and over again with every single type of person from all walks of life, from all nationalities or religious types. So that's something only the Lord or the Lord's empowered devotees can achieve.
Mother Shaya?
There's the first Lila and then the second Vichitudha. So all these incarnations come from second or first? And where does the Mahavishnu in the calculation rise?
So you have the first expansion, first chapter of Yuhar, and the second chapter of Yuhar. So we know that the different Purusha avatars. So you have Mahavishnu is from Sankusha, Gavadakashaya Vishnu is from Pradyumna, and Shirodakashaya Vishnu is from Aniruddha. And that's interesting because that goes to the also that Karanalakashaya Vishnu or Mahavishnu is considered the Antiyami, or the soul of the Prakriti, of the total material manifestation. And then of each universe, Gabadakashaya Vishnu is the Antiyami, or the soul of each universe. And then Kiradakashaya Vishnu is the soul within the heart of each living being. So that it just expands out. And it's very interesting because that's how it expands out, but also the universe expands from spiritual to material. From Gabadakashaya Vishnu has the desire to create, which is also connected to the desire of all the living entities compacted within his transcendental body, their desire to enjoy, which expresses itself from the navel of Gabadakashaya Vishnu in the form of Hiranyagarbha, the lotus flower, and then Lord Brahma, who is born on the lotus flower, who has the desire to create. And then it's said that all the forms of all the living entities, all the blueprints are there within Lord Brahma. So he's Hiranyagarbha, and then that's expanded out in like a subtle form, like a hologram kind of. It's the only example we can think of it. And then his job is to bring all the material elements together to make that hologram a real universe. And so he engineers it. But that's all given by the Lord. So it's just so interesting how it all just expands out. So these Chatur Vyuha are expanding out from Mahanarayan, and then from the Sankarshan incarnation, and the second Chaturvyuha is expanding up from there. So in one sense, they're all Balaram. Everybody from Balaram onwards are actually all Balaram, which is really interesting. Because he is the Supreme Personality of Servant to Godhead, so he just provides everything. But because he's not the cause of all causes, Krishna is the cause of Balaram, so then we go back to Krishna as the Adi Purusha, the original person. Mani Manjari, are you first?
Like Dwarkadish, like Krishna from Dwarka, is like Vasudeva from the first expansion that comes from Balara? Or because like in the Krishna book there's a little confusion. Like text 3 chapter of the Krishna book appears like it's Paramatma also at the same time. So I'm a little bit confused because I was asking that is he Vasudeva from the first expansion that comes from Balara?
Well, that's a good question. I'd probably have to go back and look at that exact detail, if he's the first or second expansion of the Chaturvyuha. Because technically, in one sense, there's no real difference, because it's a matter of mood. So the mood of Vasudeva is in, Vasudeva is willing to, he's different from Krishna, in the sense that Vasudeva is willing to be a little bit more involved in the social dealings of Dwarka. So that whole scene with the Kshatriyas and the politics and the intrigues and so many wives and so forth. So Vasudeva is the incarnation of Krishna that is able to get involved in all of that. So Krishna, he can't, he just stays in Vrindavan. He would never want to leave Vrindavan. So therefore he expands himself as Vasudeva. But that exact technicality of is it from the first Chaturvyuha or the second Chaturvyuha, I mean, I wouldn't be able to say. That's beyond my knowledge. If anyone else knows, you're free to say. Yes?
Would you, to be able to unlock the nectar of the 10th canto, can you give any advice for that?
Well, I believe that's why Sanatana Goswami wrote the Brihad-bhagavatam Gita. But you've also got the, I would say, more standard text of the Krishna book, which has been given by Srila Prabhupada to unlock the nectar of the 10th canto. Srila Prabhupada, of course, didn't know if he was going to live long enough in his current future to finish the Srimad Bhagavatam. So he wrote the Krishna book, which goes into great detail, elaborates very greatly. So I'd go there and repeatedly read the Krishna book.
The acharyas, do they have anything to contribute to that?
Well, Srila Prabhupada put all the teachings of the acharyas in the Krishna book, so there's no need to go anywhere else in one sense.
The other thing is that another approach is the recommendation of Srila Prabhupada that we go through all the cantos of the Bhagavatam carefully. There's a purport in the 4th canto of the Bhagavatam in the pastime of Puranjan Prachana Bharashat. And Prabhupada makes this comment in quite a short purport. He said it's natural for a conditioned soul to be proud, because in his universe he's the greatest person in it. Everybody else, including God, is minimalized. So, but if he hears about Krishna, someone greater than him, then he starts to realize his position in relation to Krishna. So there's 6 divisions of surrender. One of them is humility, but that humility is actually cultivated by hearing about Krishna. We hear about somebody greater than us, and the early cantos of the Bhagavatam, we're hearing about these kind of things. We're hearing the potencies of the Lord. So we understand this is a great personality. This is actually the supreme personality of Godhead. So then, when we get to the 10th canto, there's no danger that we'll think that Krishna is an ordinary person. And actually, Prabhupada even says in that introduction to the Bhagavatam that if we carefully go through the Srimad Bhagavatam, then by the 10th canto will actually become realized. And those devotees who do that, they definitely experience something by the time they get to the 10th canto. And then we can't think that Krishna is an ordinary person. And then when we hear his pastimes, we think how wonderful these pastimes are. I thought that was also what I was thinking of adding at the end of the class. It just seemed to happen naturally. And it practically is the end of the class.
So I just done further research in answer to Mani Manjari's question. It seems that the Vasudeva incarnation is from the first chapter of Yuva expansion. And the second ones are the 24 main features on the Vaikuntha worlds. Did you want to say any more?
That's what I wanted to say. Maybe we can have one more question from Zan. I'll call it quits.
You said that every expansion from Balaram onwards is effectively Balaram. And you also mentioned earlier that Krishna doesn't like, I was thinking he's Shiradakashai Vishnu. Is that the reason, or what's the reason he doesn't like?
Well, it's when you're in intimate dealings with a close friend, so you would like them to address themselves or interact with you based upon the affection they have for you and how much they know about you, rather than keeping it quite formal. So, say for example, Srila Prabhupada uses the example of the High Court judge, and he has a son who rides on his back and beats him, right? But if the son was always very formal, "Oh Father, oh Mr. High Court Judge, please tell me if my actions have been rightful or wrongful." And if he was always in that kind of mood, the father wouldn't be very pleased. He wants the son to just interact with him in his natural way. So similarly, Krishna doesn't want to be approached as Paramatma particularly. He provides that as an option for the devotees who want to approach him in that way. So Krishna always prefers to be approached by those who have strong affection and love for him, and that's the Raja Krishna feature. That's the most pleasurable interactions on Krishna's behalf. He prefers that. That's why he spends all of his time in Vrindavan and never leaves, because that's his home.
So we've hit the 9 o'clock mark, and we want to be known as the
punctual ones.
Otherwise we'll never get asked to speak again. Yeah, that's another one, but still.
Sorry guys, it was a tough verse. We did the best we could with what we had.
So just a quick question from our side, just to move us on from here to the rest of the day. So the schedule that was sent out, that's more or less what we're going to follow?
There are some changes, such as Prashad and Govind isn't happening after Harinam So if everyone can kindly be on time. And then we have His Holiness Janananda Maharaj's seminar at 11:30. Again, if you kindly come on time, then we can spontaneously go through Mass.
It's here?
Yeah, it's the second Prasadam hall.
Where we were last night?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi.
Adana Prabhu ki Jai. Prabhu ki Jai.